Let's be real, solo queue can be a daunting experience to play by yourself because you just don't know if you're going to get paired with actual good competent teammates or a sack of potatoes. That being said, sometimes you just don't have friends online, and sometimes you gotta just play because you gotta scratch that DBD itch and you gotta get some games in, and there is no choice but to play solo queue. But fret not, for in today's episode we're going to be discussing the top 3 builds for playing DBD by yourself. And the thing with these builds is when you're playing DBD by yourself and you don't know if your teammates are going to be good or not good, you really need a build that carries. And these are 3 very strong builds, very strong setups that are going to carry you in your games. So while you can't really control whether or not you get paired with some potatoes, as long as you have these builds with you, you do have a very, very good chance of escaping more trials and having your games go well because you're bringing the necessary perks to make that happen. So build number 1, guys, is a classic. This is my signature build. It all starts with Sprint Burst. Sprint Burst will be the exhaustion perk of choice for this build. What it does, it lets you run really fast for 3 seconds. As you get better with the game, you can 99 your Sprint Burst and make sure you get it to a point where you can really utilize it and chase properly at the right moments. But even if you're not good at chase, Sprint Burst is still a solid perk to bring with you because a lot of times we'll be working on gens, which is our second perk, Deja Vu. And the killer will come up to you and then you can Sprint Burst away and get a nice good head start. And even if you're using it like that, it's still a really solid perk. So Deja Vu, probably your best friend in solo queue because this perk is just god tier. It shows you the aura of the 3 gens that are closest together. And it gives you a 6% repair speed bonus when you work on those gens. Very simple. The thing with this though is that it's always showing you the 3 gen. And there's a thing in Dead by Daylight called a 3 gen. So if 3 gens are close together, the killer can defend them very easily. So if you leave the 3 gens that are closest together for the very last generators, it's called a 3 gen scenario. And usually in those situations, you could be having a great game against the killer, but if you get 3 gen and the last 3 gens are easy to defend for the killer, you're just not going to win the game. But with Deja Vu, it's always showing you the 3 gen. So as long as you prioritize working on the Deja Vu generators, which you're going to want to do because you get extra speed doing them, you will prevent yourself from being 3 gen. So you will not have any silly losses to 3 gen situations because single-handedly, as long as you're working to break up the 3 gen, you're securing your team a really solid chance for victory. Even if your team's uncoordinated, even if you don't have comms, because you have Deja Vu, this helps you prevent any kind of 3 gen scenario because you always know where it's at and you know what to work on. And also this perk is just so damn good on indoor maps. So we've got an exhaustion perk for chase. We've got a gen perk to help us break up the 3 gen and do gens quicker. The next perk is actually botany. This is going to help us reset our teammates quicker and also heal ourselves quicker. This makes you heal 50% quicker. Your healing item efficiency is reduced by 20%. We'll get more into that here in a second. But I love botany because botany makes it to where when you're healing your teammates, you're shaving off valuable time from that 16-second heal. I think botany cuts it down to something like 12 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And when you're using botany, you're saving seconds every time you heal one of your teammates. And honestly, there's going to be a lot of moments where you have to heal your teammates. Also, botany stacks with your medkit. Granted, it does take away 20% of your charges. So I strongly recommend with this setup, you do bring a medkit with you. It doesn't have to be the yellow medkit. It can be any color you want, but bring a medkit with you. Bring bandages with you because this will add 8 extra charges to your medkit. So what this guarantees is that when you use your medkit, with botany, you'll actually heal yourself a lot quicker than normal because you get that 50% extra speed. And because you have the bandages, you'll have a little bit of charges left over to use your second add-on for the medkit, which I highly recommend bringing the anti-hemorrhagic syringe. If you got a character with a bunch of those added on, this is a great build for them. But you could also use Scriptic Agent to tank a hit and get endurance. But I prefer using the syringe because this gives our medkit 2 heals, and heals are very valuable when you're playing solo queue. So this means you can heal yourself once with the medkit or heal one of your teammates and have a few charges left over to use the syringe, which after 16 seconds will instantly heal a survivor health state. You can use it on yourself, you can use it on a teammate. This is just a great perk, a great add-on to have on your medkit in general. And the best part about it is that botany actually stacks with this. So instead of 16 seconds, it actually shaves off 50% of the time because botany stacks with the hemorrhage syringe. So it's not going to take you quite 16 seconds. Again, it is something like, I think 12, 13 seconds. But it is just, it works like bread and butter with this build. And the last perk I highly recommend is No One Left Behind. This is an endgame perk, requires you to get all 5 gens done first. But this will make you basically a god in the end game. 100% extra blood points for healing and unhooking survivors, 50% extra action speed when you heal people and unhook people. Let's not forget Botany has already given us 50% extra healing speed, so this makes you heal people 100% quicker in the end game. So it's like base kit will make it, which is honestly cracked. But it gets even better. When you unhook survivors, they'll get a 7% movement bonus for 10 seconds, basically guaranteeing that they won't get tunneled or chased after you save them in the end game. And also this gives you god level bond in the end game. You will reveal the aura of all survivors to you. This is useful for many things. If you need to find someone to heal you in the end game, you can find them. If you want to see what your teammates are doing in the end game, you can find them. If you got a teammate and chase halfway across the map, you can find them. You can go up, body block, take a hit for them, go heal them, save them, whatever. No One Left Behind is an incredibly fun perk that I really recommend a lot more people try out. But if you were worried about not making it to the end game, you can always substitute this perk out for something like Off the Record and you will do just fine. So let's go into our second build. This one, my friends, also a really good build. Bond, very simple perk, shows you the aura of all your teammates within 36 meters, which is great. Multiple things this perk does. One, if you need to heal, you can find someone to heal you. If you need to find someone who's already injured to heal, you can find them with Bond. If your teammates are on a generator, you can go up and join them on the generator. If one of your teammates is in chase and you hear the killer's massive terror radius, like it's for example, like a mastermind Wesker with a huge ass terror radius, and you're working on a gen, but you're not sure if he's coming for you or not. If you see your teammate's aura with Bond and it looks like he's in chase and dropping pallets, well, then you know that's where the chase is at, and therefore that's where the killer's at. There's so many extra implications Bond gives you that just makes this perk insanely good. Just having this intel 24/7 makes you just play smarter as a survivor because you always know what you need to do and you just have more intel and you don't have to waste time finding teammates to heal you or looking for someone to heal. It makes it so easy. But also, like I said, like if you have a teammate working on a gen, you can go up and join them because the second perk is Prove Thyself. Prove Thyself, fallen a little bit from its former glory, but it's still a really solid perk that shaves off valuable time on generators. And when you're playing solo queue, you got to get the gens done ASAP so you can basically escape, guys. Every survivor working on the generator with you will get an extra 10% repair speed bonus, which helps undo some of the negative drawback of multiple survivors working on the same gen. So Prove Thyself works like bread and butter with Bond because you want to do gens with teammates with Prove Thyself, and because you have Bond, you know where your teammates are at, so they're easy to find and it's easy to use Prove Thyself and get a lot of value out of this perk. Now, we've got a gen perk, we've got an aura perk to play smart. We also have We'll Make It. We'll Make It is god tier teammate resetting. Like if you're playing by yourself, you need to save as much time as possible. You can't be wasting 16 seconds healing people. We'll Make It cut your healing time in half, so once you unhook someone, you get 100% extra healing speed for 90 seconds, which means you will heal people in 8 seconds instead of 16 seconds, it feels really good, guys. Once you start using We'll Make It, you just never want to stop using We'll Make It. This makes you heal and reset your teammates so damn quick. That way you can rescue someone, heal them up. You have 90 seconds, so a lot of times you can find another injured teammate with Bond and go heal them too. And because you're resetting your team so quick, they're at full health. You guys can get back to doing gens, you can go back to chase. This just saves you so much time, and more people will need to be using We'll Make It because it's really just that good of a perk. Last is Lithe, our exhaustion perk to help us in chase whenever you're being chased. If you vault a pallet or a window or do any kind of rushed vault, you'll get 150% speed for 3 seconds. So basically it's honestly the same as sprint burst, except you have to vault before using it, which gives you a little bit more control over when you use it. And this will just help drag out our chases a little bit longer. Now, let's get on to the final. Oh, also, this is a good build to bring a flashlight with if you want to try and go for flashlight saves. Also, you're never going to go wrong going for a med kit. But flashlights are really good because you know where your teammates are at with Bond, especially when they're in chase and they go down. You can find them, use your flashlight, try and get a save. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but it's just a good setup to have. Now, let's get into the third build. The third build, guys, similar perk, Deja Vu. We discussed why this perk is so great already. We're going to be using Deja Vu in this build. And this build is actually more of kind of an aura reading build because it lets us see a lot of different things, which makes us play smarter. For example, Deja Vu, we see the 3 closest gens, we get a gen speed bonus, we're preventing the 3 gen. Bond, like I talked about earlier, you can find your teammates to heal, you can find your teammates to heal you, you can see where they're at in chase. Leaves you a lot of intel and coordination that you wouldn't otherwise have. If you want, you could use Kindred as well, but I've been actually finding Bond to be a lot more consistent than Kindred, so this is the perk I'm preferring these days. Windows of Opportunity. God level perk, guys. What does it do? Just shows you the aura of pallets, breakable walls, vault locations within 32 meters of you, and this turns someone who is bad at chase and looping into a decent looper. This turns someone who's decent at looping into a good looper, and someone who's good at looping into a god level looper, because you're never wondering where the pallets are at. So you can always run to a pallet, drop a pallet. Even if you suck at chase, you can just chunk a pallet, chunk a pallet, chunk a pallet, and just keep chaining loops together with windows, and you can drag out a chase much longer than you would normally without this perk. And it's amazing. Windows is great in a good player's hand, a bad player's hand, an expert's hand. Windows is all around a great perk. And what I found is with this build, it really takes a lot of the guesswork out of the game, because you never have to worry about 3-gen with Deja Vu. You just go straight to work on gens. Never have to worry about finding your teammates because of Bond. And you never have to worry about finding a pallet or something decent to loop because of Windows. So you can extend your chases for a very long time, which gives us a lot of flexibility for our last perk. And actually for our last perk, guys, you have multiple options here. You can use an exhaustion perk like we did on the last two builds. It does work pretty well, but honestly, I found that with Windows, sometimes I don't even really feel like I need the exhaustion perk because my chases last a long time anyways. But if you want them to last even longer, go for an exhaustion perk. But if you're feeling pretty comfortable with just Windows, then you don't actually need an exhaustion perk and you can play something else. So instead of an exhaustion perk, if you want to play stealthy, highly recommend distortion. This will block your aura from the killer. You get 3 stacks of it. Every 30 seconds you're within the killer's terror radius, you will get another stack back. And this is a great perk for blocking a lot of killer aura reading perks, especially right now. There's a lot of hillbillies using lethal. This will block it at the start. This tells you that they have lethal, and this will help you play a little bit more off the grid. And if the killer does find you, it's no issue because you got Windows. So distortion is a great perk for this build because it keeps you off the grid, and then you just know what's going on basically all the time because of your other 3 perks. Another great option for this build is Will Make It or Botany. Like we said earlier, if you feel like you want to be healing and saving your teammates, go for Will Make It. Go for Botany if you want that extra heal speed. Maybe we want to use it on you. Really doesn't matter, guys. Last perk here is very fluid. Have fun with it. Use whatever perk you want that fits your playstyle, but those are some of my recommendations. And also with this build, I do recommend a med kit with gel dressing and bandages. This will give you 2 heals for yourself or 3 heals on another player, which honestly in solo queue, med kit is usually the best item to bring because you just need a way to heal and you need a way to heal your teammates quicker if need be. And it's just overall good. Now guys, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that bell notification so you're updated every time I drop new top builds. We do top builds videos every month, 2 months, 3 months. It really just depends, but I've always got great fun builds for you guys to try. And if you want to be on the loop, hit the subscribe button. Other than that, guys, likes are appreciated. Super thanks, much appreciated. And have fun in the fog. I'll see you on the next one. Comment down below and let me know how these builds work for you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.